Mat karma krut mat paramaha mad bhakta sangha varjitaha nirvaira sarvabhutesu yasa mamiti pandava. So this verse, being the last verse of this chapter, gives the link to the next chapter. In fact, we'll be seeing elaborately next chapter in keeping with this verse. Here, Lord Krishna highlights Mat Karma Krut. So, Yaha Mat Karma Krut. The one who works for me, one aspect. Then says that second one, Mad Bhakta. So the one who is my devotee. Second level. Third is Mad Paramaha. So one who keeps me as his or her supreme goal. Then comes Sangha Varjita. Sangha Varjita means the one who is free from attachment. We'll see in details. Then at the same time, Nirvairaha Sarvabhutesu, with reference to all living beings. So the one who is completely free from hatred. There is no dvesha, there is no enmity. Yeti mamiti Arjuna. So that person alone reaches. So while talking this, we brought very carefully that bhakti is something, this is not an ordinary sadhana, it is a package. So when we say it is a package, unfortunately people talk, it's a sadhana, it's just, like for emotional beings, bhakti. It's not like that. So we need to look at very carefully. So we divided, which we'll be seeing in details in 12th chapter, that how a person gradually grows based on the maturity. The first one we discussed, called Karma Lakshana Bhakti, that we have seen in details in the last class. So that Mat Karma Krut. So it represents nothing but Karma Lakshana Bhakti. That's why the Karma Yoga comes. Ishvara comes. And which we have discussed in details, especially 3rd chapter elaborately. So how this Sama Bhutva, how one is to be maintained, how one is supposed to look at. And when the person starts doing this, now there is dedication. And because of that reason, there is also growth. Remember, wherever there is dedication, maybe it's painful. Because of dedication, there is commitment. Or I would rather say, because of commitment, there is dedication. Both goes together. Now, there one sees growth. Because remember, without pain, there is no gain. So also, the growth can never happen in our life unless we go through some difficulties. And what is difficulty? Difficult situation is nothing, or difficult is nothing, but where the situation, surroundings is opposite to my likes and dislikes, not in keeping with my likes and dislikes. For example, now to take class or to attend class, if it is not conditionally suitable for some of the morning 6:30, getting up. 2 days was break was better. Now what is this? Today only again Saturday, Sunday holiday. So Swamiji could have given little more, 1 more day extra, so that we would have taken a long break. You understand? And winter, cold, we have to get up. Okay, I understand. Swamiji, can't he allow us to switch off the video so that we don't have to take bath? So under the bed we can switch on, log in. Then again after the class or while class, any mute is there, so I can slow. That is called samadhi. How it would be? How? So this particular situation can be considered as difficulties. Why? Because it is when not in keeping with or opposite to my likes and dislikes, that becomes difficult. Whereas when it gels with my likes and dislikes, my likes and dislikes are not being challenged, are not being opposed. Now what happens? Is it a pleasure or not for me? So that means situation by itself, there is nothing called difficulties. It is me who looks at, me who approaches. So that's why this Karma Yoga takes care of that. But the problem here is, when a person is busy in Karma Yoga, now let us use the word following Karma Yoga, there is Ishwararpana Buddhi. There is no doubt. So when there is Ishwararpana Buddhi, but this is not sufficient. Ishwara is there. You offer, but that is not sufficient for a sadhaka. Sadhaka has to again grow. So why? Because when we say this karma lakshana bhakti makes a person to become extrovert. Because everything is outside. So when a person becomes extrovert, so a lot of issues will come. That's why next level of bhakti is what we call as upasana rupa bhakti or upasana lakshana bhakti. Okay, so karma lakshana bhakti or upasana lakshana or upasana rupa bhakti. So the bhakti, that which is in the form of upasana, meditation. So here what happens? Now karma yogi being extrovert. Now there is karta, there is bhakta. That kartuttam and bhaktuttam are there strongly in the person. Now what happens? So in the process, the person will keep fine-tuning kartuttam and bhaktuttam in one's sense. The sense of me being a doer and me being an enjoyer. So that becomes polished and polished. But still I remain as an extrovert person. So to change that, now I need to see in me. So that is what we call as Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman. So this Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma Yo Veda Nihitam Guhaya. So that is to be seen in me, in myself. That's an Abruta Chakshu. So you want need to do close the eyes. Paranchikani Vetnat Swayambu Tasmat Param Paschatinantaratma. Kaschit Dhira Abruta Chakshu. This is the point. Some intelligent, Dhira, some of Buddhiman Bhakti, the one who is having Viveka, Vivekavanta. What does he do? Closes the eyes, means internalizes. That is what the introspection starts. So then when the person starts looking at within and discovers, hey, there is nothing out. And the Ishvara that I am seeing outside also is in me, is in fact me. So now this karma lakshana bhakti now gets transformed into upasana lakshana or upasana rupa bhakti. So once this transformation happens, that's what in this verse very beautifully highlighted, that mad bhaktaha, the word mad bhaktaha is being highlighted. Okay, I understand. One is mad karma, karmakrit, other one is mad bhakta. Then how to look at mad param? So when we say look at mad param, very nicely we also need to look at. So mad param, one who keeps me as a supreme goal. So when a person starts seeing the God in one's self, for example, while chanting any dhyana mantra, whether it's Lalitambika, Aruna, or Shantakar, any mantra the person starts chanting, dhyana mantra, or yesterday was Yakundendu Tusarhara Dhavala. So any Saraswati, yes, okay, so don't look at it. I'm looking at so what Swami is talking, okay? So the mantra for Saraswati. So any dhyana mantra, the mantra on meditation. That's why we have this, the moment we say dhyanam, Shantakaram Bhujagasainam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadharam Gaganasatrisham Meghavannam Suvangam Lakshmi Kantam Kamalanayanam Yogi Virdhyanagamyam. The moment we start, eyes automatically get closed. So why eyes get closed? Because we start internalizing. We try to see at least the meaning in the beginning, and later on we see that Shantakaram Bhujagasainam is nothing but in me. In fact, I am there. So that is the purpose here. So when the person starts traveling from extrovert to introvert, this is a big travel. Then the person needs to be a Tibra Mumukshu. Only when a person becomes Tibra Mumukshu. Tibra Mumukshu means what? Mumukshu means Muktum Ichuhu, the one who desires of moksha, liberation. Tibra, intense, not curiosity, not comes and goes. In short, one who is sadhana chatushtaya sampanna vyaktihi. So sadhana chatushtayam kimiti? Come on. Tattva-bodha. So let us go back to Tattva-bodha. So that if you cannot answer again, we have to start Tattva-bodha. Okay? Remember this. However, so here is being highlighted that this Tibra Moksha. So once the person becomes a Tibra Moksha, then only the third level we call as a Jnana Rupa Bhakti will come. Okay, 3 levels I said. First one is Karma Lakshana Bhakti. Second, Upasana Lakshana or Upasana Rupa Bhakti. Third one is called Jnana Rupa Jnana Lakshana Bhakti. So the bhakti, the devotion, is in the form of knowledge. That's why the intermediate stage is what mat krit param, mat param iti. So mat param means keeping me as a supreme goal. That we have already discussed. The person no more takes God as means to achieve the end. In fact, here the God is end takes different type of means. This is the difference. Somebody said, what is the difference between, if you want to say, what is the difference between a mundane and spirituality? Who is a mundane person? Who is a spiritual person? You know, the one who takes spirit is spiritual, okay? It's not like that. Oh, no, no. Actually, the one who talks worldly things called mundane. The one who talks on God, spirit, is called spiritual. Sorry. If you want to really classify carefully, better you say, one who makes God as a means to achieve different types of ends. Clear? The one who takes or considers God as means to achieve different type of end is called a mundane person. Whereas the one who considers God as end to achieve that end takes different type of means, takes the help of different means. That person is a spiritual person. So that means what? Whoever says spiritual, you can say, yes, yes, you are spiritual because once in a while you take spirit, if not knowingly, in your dream at least, okay? If not consciously, in your dream. So that's why here it says that when the person, mat paramaha, because me being the goal, now what happens? That extrovert mind not only becomes introvert, in fact, does not move anywhere. Because there is no need to, because there is nothing to achieve. I discover it is me who is running behind, running away from the shadow to look for shadow. We have a beautiful expression called Mruganabhi Kasturi. So Kasturi is deer musk. So the deer musk is within deer, in its navel, in the body. Now when the deer started breathing, that fragrance comes. So when the fragrance comes, now deer gets confused. Where from that fragrance comes? Now starts running. The more the deer runs, the more fragrance comes. Now deer assumes that I am closer to the place where from fragrance is coming. And poor deer, confused completely, keeps running, running, and running, finally dies. When if it goes to others, okay? Same thing also, people do that. Now here is being highlighted that I am no more like the deer looking for Kasturi. Here I start looking at me as end, me also, all the process is called means. So there is no difference between end and means. Now because of this reason, what happens? Slowly, I don't depend upon anything. The sense of dependence gets reduced. So once the sense of dependence gets reduced, now what happens? Now because of that reason, I am least bothered. Whatever comes, whatever does not come. So if it comes, good. If it doesn't come, Absolute no problem. Sometimes better, okay? One problem, less seeming, it seems, okay? You do not know. Again, you may invite more problem, don't worry. Because getting problem or not getting problem has nothing to do with you. It has something to do with your prarabdha. Okay, remember this much. That's why, with reference to problem or situation, never ever become intolerant. Because the more you become intolerant with reference to any situation, remember, unknowingly or knowingly, you will invite that sort of problem again and again. That sort of situation again and again. And this is called law of attraction. You can see for yourself, especially boys or girls, both way. Boys, they want to run away from their mother. Then what happens? You end up with a lady who is your wife or whatever, a replica of your mother, or worse than mother. Okay? Same thing also, girls. You want to run away from your father. So you look at a man. What you look at? Whatever is lacking in man, your father, if some aspect is there in that man, you know, one time your father, I'll tell you a beautiful psychology. One time your father did not protect you. Or you ask something, father did not give you. So you discover a boy starts protecting you or gives you whatever you want. Then what happens? So that boy could take care of or fill the gap of your father. And you discover what? That person is worse than your father. So that is how it happens. This is called law of attraction. I'm not telling you jokes, okay? So it's better to make a peace with father and mother rather than running away, okay? Please. Especially, this is a tip I always say for this those who are going to get married, okay, all the youngsters. Honestly, life is a disaster, okay? I'm not telling you jokes. How? Let us not get into too much. Then, if this is the case, then what we need to do? Then he says beautifully, after everything falls down, then now here mad param sangha varjita. So sangha varjita means what? That the person who is no more dependent upon attachment, free from attachment. So once this happens, then the beautiful growth happens. Because sangha varjita bhavaha, once it happens, that means the person understands. Because all these things all these are things I'm holding on to are perishable, not dependable. But on I am depending upon not dependable objects or people. Can you see this point? Imagine. Suppose you depend upon a person which is not dependable. That is what assume it is dependable, you depend upon finally you know what happens. Will you get frustrated very soon or not? Say at least depend upon a person. I'm talking about transaction level. At least Bhavarika. Satyam, this is depend upon a person who is dependable, not dependable. If you depend upon what will happen. And in reality, whatever you say dependable, that is also not dependable. Here you are talking. So anything and everything you cannot depend because all comes under asatya, mithya, iti. So that's why he says, once I am not depending upon, then is what comes nirvairaha. So nirvairaha means sarvabhuteshu. So freedom from raga and dvesha, both will you take. So the one who does not have raga and dvesha with reference to anybody, anything. So what is that? We says beautifully that the person, for that person, if something comes good, doesn't create any difference. If not comes also, it doesn't create any difference. Remember this. In morning, to start with, if coffee comes, It's a very weak practice, okay? Sometimes I have seen. Sometimes, not all the time, okay? If coffee comes, you don't have to be excited. Nothing like, in the winter, you are sitting and somebody brings a cup of coffee. Only those who are blessed indeed, they get this chance, okay? Like me. Be very practical, okay? That I'm blessed because morning, without hot coffee, nothing will move, okay? Something has to. However, coming to the point. If coffee comes, absolutely no change in the mind. And if coffee doesn't come, there is no change in mind either. Can you see this point? If coffee comes, absolutely no point change. Many people go through because you are habituated. You take it for granted. And especially in Indian case, men, okay, they get shocked. So everything as usual, everything is normal, no problem. When things are not there, they go crazy everywhere and everywhere. So if coffee comes, no problem. If coffee does not come, big problem. You understand? This is dangerous. This is what is nirvaya. He highlights the dvesha part. The person who is completely free from dvesha, which also implies raga. So that any situation or anything that one comes across does not create any change in mind. And absence of that person or that object also does not create any change in mind. This is the most important aspect. Because in life, if there is some change in mind, for example, seeing something if you are excited. Please, most important thing. This is something, example say, okay, this is called basil essential oil. Suppose now this basil essential oil creates a change in my mind. Now the absence of this, will it create a vacuum or not? Will it create another type of change in me or not? Has to. So that means what? If it doesn't create, arrival doesn't create any change. Disappearance of this, will it create any problem? That's what it says. Agate swagatam kuryat gatsantam nanivar. Whatever comes, welcome. Whatever goes, let it. That's why here, while discussing this thing, what is to be done? Now, that person is a Jnani, Jnana Upalakshana. So these three, karma, upasana, then finally comes Jnana. And only that person, only ma sa mameti pandavaha, that person will become one with me. So that means what? This is the shloka verse for the next chapter. With this chapter is completed. Om Tat Sat Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyaya Yoga Sastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Sambhade Vishwarupa Darshana Yogo Nama Ekadashodhyaya. So thus, 11th chapter is completed. The name is what? Name of the chapter is Vishwarupa Darshana. Anekarupa Darshana. Because we started Ekarupa to Anekarupa, then Anekarupa to Arupa, which we will see tomorrow. No, sorry, tomorrow is holiday, Saturday, Sunday. So Monday.